Hello there. When talking to Europhiles, you'd think that only a few batty Brits are Eurosceptic, but that's far from the truth. Firstly, please subscribe and like this video to give my channel a boost, and I'm always uploading new content, so please do check back daily. I recently said in a video that although there seems to be a healthy amount of Euroscepticism across certain parts of the European Union, the test for them would be the performance of the UK after Brexit. And a poll for Euronews.com by Redfield and Wilton Strategies looks at Euroscepticism in what is called the Big Four EU countries of France, Germany, Italy and Spain through that Brexit Prism. The survey asked 1,500 people in each of those countries their thoughts on this between the 17th and 18th of July. Of the EU's Big Four, respondents in Italy were the most in favour of leaving the EU in 5 years' time if Brexit is seen to be benefiting the UK, with 45% either agreeing or strongly agreeing with the idea of an Italexit, said Euronews. France came next with 38%, only just pipping Spain to the post, who came in third at 37%. But even the Germans have got a large Eurosceptic feeling, with nearly 1 in 3, 30%, willing to look at leaving the EU in 5 years' time if the UK was seen to be doing well. And when asked if they thought that Brexit Britain would prosper, Euronews says that a significant number of respondents in France, 45%, and Italy, 43%, all agreed that the UK would prosper outside of the bloc. In Spain, 35% believed Brexit would ultimately be a success for the UK, while only 31% of Germans agreed to some extent, compared to 43% who disagreed. For me personally, it's the 30% of Germans who are eyeing up an exit. Now what would that be? A Jexit or a Jerksit or a Deutschexit? Anyway, for 30% of Germans to be thinking about this is quite surprising. After all, they are the ones who have arguably benefited the most from the EU, or more precisely, the Eurozone. That the Italians, Spanish and also now the French feel this way in substantial numbers is no surprise at all. And the Eurosceptic movement in Ireland might get a bit of a boost as they get to realise that the European Union really does have military ambitions, and that might just interfere in their nation's history of neutrality. Former Irish ambassador to Canada, Jamaica and the Bahamas, Ray Bassett, has written in his new book, Ireland and the EU post-Brexit, that Brussels is now motivated by a growing detachment from the United States and resentment at the domination of that country of present military arrangements under NATO. And also that, as the US becomes more wary of foreign adventurism, some within the EU want to fill the vacuum left by Uncle Sam. To do that, they want a European army with a large European industrial military complex in support. But just like the UK's Nick Clegg debating with Nigel Farage and calling the concept of an EU army a dangerous fantasy, Ray Bassett, who I understand was also involved in the Good Friday Agreement talks, says that senior Irish politicians are as equally in denial about an EU army. There are many in Ireland who believe that claims of a future European army are just scare stories. Former European Minister Lucinda Creighton even described reports about an EU army as pathetic in the Irish edition of the Sunday Times on May the 7th, 2019. And he added, "Yet this is completely contrary to the evidence. In fact, the proposal to militarise the EU is receiving growing support among establishment figures in mainland Europe." and pointed to both the French President Emmanuel Macron and the German Chancellor Angela Merkel as fervent supporters of an EU military. Now, with the Brits departing, the push for a European army will be much more difficult to stop, he said. And that ties in with the Brexiteers, who've always thought that the UK was holding back the whole military unification thing. And this could, it seems, either mean that Ireland could be left out, or it might have to change its own constitution where it says, "The state shall not adopt a decision taken by the European Council to establish a common defence pursuant to Article 42 of the Treaty on the European Union, where that common defence would include the state." Something to do with the Irish concept of neutrality, as I understand it. And now here's an interesting extra snippet of news for those of you that haven't heard. Remember Unilever? The company that decided that the way ahead for its company was to ditch its dual country HQ setup and base itself in just one, the UK. Well, the other country concerned was the Netherlands. Unilever was formed about 90 years ago after it merged a Dutch margarine maker and the UK Sunlight soap manufacturer, Lever Brothers. It also later took on Knorr, famous for its soup tablets, and many others. Unilever is now known for a very diverse set of brands, like Hellmann's, Knorr, Lipton, Magnum, Ben & Jerry's, PG Tips and Marmite, together with Domestos, Cif and Persil, as well as Dove, Lynx and Brute. Anyway, it ended up with an HQ in the Netherlands and another in the UK. And in recent months the company has drawn up plans to relocate the whole structure to the UK and run a dual share structure on the markets. That was due to be completed by the end of November after shareholder votes in September and October. But the Dutch opposition party GreenLinks has tabled a private member's bill in Parliament that proposes to slap an exit tax on any company with revenues of more than €750 million a year that decides to relocate abroad. Obviously to try and trap large companies inside the country. This, according to reports, could land Unilever with a bill of somewhere between £10 and £11 billion if the law was passed before the company relocated. And this, says the company, would make the move unviable for shareholders. Now, Unilever believes the proposed law would be illegal, as it goes against both EU law and some international agreements the Netherlands has signed up to. But it also said, nevertheless, if the bill were enacted in its present form, the boards believe that proceeding with unification, if it resulted in an exit tax charge of some €11 billion, would not be in the best interests of Unilever. I've got to say that my first thought was, how does this fit in with EU law? But it seems exit taxes do exist in EU countries in one form or another. The next step is for this bill to go through the Dutch legislative system, so we'll just have to wait and see what their lawmakers make of it. And remember that back in 2018, Unilever was planning to relocate the whole shebang to the Netherlands, but it was stopped by a Daily Mail campaign. Wonder if the Dutch will try and get their own back. Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell, or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it by following the merchandise link in the descriptions box below. So what do you think about all of this? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.